This is Things You Might Not Have Heard. I am Jake Payne, and have I got news for you this Monday? We've got 10 stories in the queue from you from the weekend. Stories we'll explain on how they got to be here. Stories that you actually deemed as conversational, so we'll give some explanation on that one. I want to remind you that we have a website. That website is the Conversation Project's website for thisisconversationproject.com. Stop by there for information on how we do things around here. And, of course, you can email us with all your comments, concerns, and complaints to the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Talking some Richard Simmons, Cheryl Hines, and happy birthday for Macaulay Culkin, who has a ironic birthday twin today. We'll get to that in just a bit. I'll say the vetting process will explain in a little bit as well. Today happens to be Monday, August the 26th, 2024. No particular order as the stories are being presented, but we'll give you more context on how they were engaging for you, getting them into the story headlines for today. Headline number one, news is kicking off right here with the news. And the big news and the sad news and the confirming news, if you will. Headline for story number one, Richard Simmons died from accidental blunt trauma injuries, medical examiner says. So we have an actual answer to the death of Richard Simmons, who sadly sent out a tweet, X, whatever you want to call these days, to the world the day before his birthday, ready to celebrate and have a great time. And then basically finding out him dying on his birthday. He died from trauma injuries, blunt traumatic injuries confirmed by the LA medical examiner, happening on July 13th, one day after his birthday, 76th birthday that we had, and people were all happy about that one. Contribute to complications from recent falls. Essentially, he was having issues with falls going forward, and that's coming from a lot of issues having with blood pressure and heart disease, listing as a contributing factor of that one. Very sad to lose Richard Simmons in the way we did, especially literally the day after his birthday. But we do have answers. No foul play was involved. All the crazy rumors about Richard Simmons being kidnapped and being, manipulated, things like that. That wasn't the case. This was just one tragic accident. We are saddened, of course, for the loss of Richard Simmons. We can use some Richard Simmons right now. Richard Simmons running around telling people to go vote right now. Trust me, that would be not only hilarious, but probably really good for the vote. I wonder who he'd actually pick. That's an interesting thing to talk about. Let's not get quite political. Let's do money right now. The story for the second one for this morning. Jerome Powell says, time has come. Reading not good. Time has come to lower interest rates. No hint on the size of the rate cut. For months, due to inflation, due to monetary dealings, the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has been hit up for cutting interest rates. And he said, nope, nope, nope. Now he says the time has come, now that inflation is sort of basically under control and the prices are still way too damn high. Now the time has come to make a cut. He's not putting any really money into how much money is going to be saved in the cut. Not necessarily said when it's going to happen, but they believe in the next meeting they'll go ahead and drop some interest rates for a slight bit to relieve some pressure on some of consumers. We hope, because it relieves pressures on some of the producers to have the high price rates. Now, the interesting part about this is interest rates and things don't just go magically up and down. You basically have to choose to do these things. So as interest rates have come down some, you see prices don't come down immediately. As the rate of things that have been in inventory have been better, prices don't come down instantly. The problem is when prices go up, they don't necessarily come down very quickly. And that's something that should be said. It's not as volatile or as vibrant, fluid, pun intended, as something like oil, something like a commodity where it literally is, somebody will sell it cheaper because they will. This is where the consumers will go buy it. And once somebody starts to get someone to pay more for it, there's no real reason to get somebody to pay less for it. I mean, it does what it does. It is what it is. It do what it do. Let's go on to some more or less breaking news. Happened late yesterday, but we're getting more details on how things worked out. French authorities arrested Telegram CEO Pavel Durov at a Paris airport. The French media reported yesterday. This turned into a thing. The authorities arrested Pavel Durov, who's a joint citizen, a citizen of both Russia and France, at an airport in France, apparently going to Russia. He's the founder of Telegram. Took place as part of an ongoing investigation through details on specific charges there, and reasons were not disclosed today. The man known as the Mark Zuckerberg of Russia, because Telegraph is a platform for communicating around the world, which had some maybe sketchy sort of details, is getting hit up because the French authorities say Telegram's unencrypted or encrypted messaging system, meaning you can't really track who's using it, make it extremely easy for bad actors to act badly on the platform. What a day's worth of time for Russia to get involved. The Russian attorneys and Russian authorities are basically saying this is a call on free speech. How is there no free speech in Europe if they don't let this guy come through? There's no free speech in Russia regardless, but how is there no free speech in Europe if they don't let this guy and this platform work? How can this happen? This is an outrage. There's no free speech in Russia, so there's kind of really no outrage there. But the fact that he was arrested in France and is a Russian citizen is essentially how his free speech rights are being basically being non-considerate, because he doesn't have free speech rights in Russia. Well, maybe he does because he's rich. I don't know. But we do know this is a developing story. We'll know more about this one hopefully in the next coming days when actual charges and more details come out from filings from French authorities. More authorities, more dealings, more money. This time, the Department of Justice. They are alleging that RealPage and landlords are coordinating to raise millions of rents. How's that work out? The Department of Justice says that the antitrust laws against RealPage, a property management software company, is alleging that company is using it, or landlords are using it as an excuse to raise rates on prices. Now, RealPage gives you some ranges of how to charge your customers, and then basically the landlords say, okay, we'll charge the higher rates going forward with this one. Essentially, RealPage is inflating the value of things in ways to make it look better, and landlords are going along with it, knowing good and well that the prices are way too damn high. With that, RealPage is denying any allegations, stating that it practices are compliance with the law. They're not overdoing anything, but they say it's the algorithm. The algorithm says these prices are fair, and the consumers, who are actually landlords, have the right to charge what they want to. We give them fair rates, and they charge those rates. It's not collusions. They're not using us as an excuse. It is what it is. We'll see how this sees, and it'll be how it'll be. We got a lot of money in today's headlines today. And a lot of money and technology is kind of weird. Comes that one. The technology so much, not so much here, but this is a sandwich, and this is inflation, and this is money. And Jerome Powell lowering interest rates not going to save the Subway sandwich going back to the $5 footlong, but $7 is not so bad. Subway announces a new price for footlongs as it enters the value wars for menu items. A new sandwich price coming for a while that will be $6.99, a $7 footlong, which is interesting because some of those footlongs, some of the sandwiches that you buy at Subway, the sandwiches, the actual sandwiches themselves, are $12, $14, whereas you pile on extra meats and things like that. They're built that way because they want to get more out of it, and they basically build it as big as possible. But for a while, for a limited time, Subway's going to save you a couple bucks and get you some footlongs without a code, without any sort of deal. The deal is they're $6.99, so a $7 footlong for a limited time. This is a way for them to compete with various other fast food chains who are trying to compete on various levels. Everybody has a $5 burger menu, which gives you a small burger and nuggets along with fries and a drink. Everybody has some sort of value something to get some things down, because people are complaining that the price of fast food is essentially the price of a casual dining restaurant, and you get less of experience for it. You go through a window and pick it up, as opposed to, sitting down someplace and have someone serve you. So if the prices are so high, why are they going to fast food restaurants? They're not. Subway's trying to fight this and fight some of the glut of the Subway restaurants out there by lowering the prices of subs. So will this attract new eaters, or old eaters to come back, or people to be more repeat customers? We shall see on this one. Let's go to TikTok, which was banned in Nepal, but it's been lifted. The temporary ban has been lifted for disrupting social harmony, which was the excuse. Now, the United States is preparing to ban TikTok in months because they want ByteDance, the Chinese company that owns them, to sell it to someone else, because the data is being compiled in the Chinese the Communist Chinese Party. I'm not even saying it right this morning. Basically, the Chinese have the rights to own the data and can tell ByteDance to give it to us. We believe. They haven't done that, but we believe. It may be stored in a data house in Texas, but sometimes whoever's in charge of China can one day say, hey, can we get all that TikTok data? And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So because that, we have issues with that here, us, U.S. Nepal actually lifted a ban on TikTok it had for a while to dealing with concerns over its disrupting social harmony of the company. Essentially, TikTok making people feel bad. Literally, the app makes people feel bad, so we're turning it off for a while. And now it's back on. So will people start feeling better for an extended period of time, or will they start feeling bad again? We shall see, probably within days when the TikTok starts doing its TikTok-y thing. I'm not sure how the TikTok works, at least how it works politically or culturally in a place like Nepal, what they're complaining about over there. But if it works anything like here, we use TikTok as a way to disseminate our news here, and we do our best to do that. But the stuff that gets all the love or all the attention, should say, pretty terrible. All right, so we had a lot of sort of issues getting things on. If you were watching the live feeds on the networks before this one came through, the recorded live feed, we tried to go back to live to our streaming software, and it had a serious glitch where it hung up and sat there watching me going like this for a while. We also had a late start getting the whole thing done, getting the work done, because we had some stories that changed on us. This spot here, the spot we have here at number 7, was supposed to be the story of the helicopter rescue of people at in the Grand Canyon, when it became all of a sudden a raging river and people had to be rescued, both people who were tourists and native people who lived there. Because it changed to a story, and I couldn't really figure out how it was going to change the story off the rescue to the story on the finding of a body of a person who was missing and for some reason would not go away. Went with this one that's much more crass, but it's what we have. The story headline we have for number 7 instead reads like this. Computer executive, 66, with bladder ailment sues for $1.5 million after being fired for peeing in Times Square hotel lobby. I'm going to read what the robot editor pulled down there. We're going to read it quickly. We're going to shake our heads. We're going to take a sip of coffee for effect, move on to the next story, which is also a gaffe story, but here's the deal. A 66-year-old computer executive with a bladder ailment is suing his former employer for $1.5 million after being terminated following an incident where he was caught urinating in a lobby at a Times Square hotel, being the Westin, New York. The executive claims that his medical condition, which causes frequent and urgent need to urinate, led to the incident, and that his firing constitutes wrongful termination and discrimination based on his medical condition. The lawsuit alleges that the company did not take his condition into account and acted unfairly in dismissing him. Here's the pause. Here comes a sip of coffee to let this one sort of take for a second. Another pause as I position myself to move to the next story. And we're done. This is another gaffe story. We had an issue popping up with a story that also didn't populate properly. So we're talking about Deion Sanders. And I'm sure he's not upset about that. Here's the headline. Colorado won't take questions from journalists who was critical of Deion Sanders. The head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes football team has found himself in a spotlight due to some critical columns written by Denver Post columnist Sean Keeler. Now, the columnist has raised concerns about Sanders' leadership and his direction he's taking the Colorado football program. Valid points? Maybe. But Keeler's piece that did last sparked some stiff debate among fans and commentators, especially what exactly was going for the sport for Sanders and who should be on whose side. Sanders is an unconventional coach, if you will, with unconventional standards and unconventional methods to both motivate his team and bring in eyeballs to Colorado. With that, Colorado's not going to take any questions from Sean Keeler anymore because they can. It's not fair. It's not nice. It really is kind of a D-bag move, but because they don't like how they're treating coach, they're not going to treat Keeler to any questions. You can decide what you feel about that one. Comment to me anywhere you want to in the comments for the video or outside by email at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. This was supposed to be a very happy story we have at number 9, and the headline reads, Justin and Hailey Bieber welcome a baby boy, Jack Blues. Now, when I put in the links to do the search to write the headlines from the article, the issue came about where it was said as rumors and speculation surrounding Justin and Hailey Bieber having a baby. Now, there were all sorts of headlines all weekend long from all the news sites saying they had a baby. And that's where we got this. So because the robot editor and I guess the ChatGPT world and the fact-checking parts of it weren't quite cooperating as well as they could have today, that's what we have today. Speculation is a buzz that there's a baby. Now, they've not been seen yet per this thing, although all the other articles said, the baby was here. We will see. So the kid who sang baby, like a decade ago, is now the father of a new baby named Jack Blues with his wife, Hailey Bieber. Congratulations to the couple. If this is true, if it's not true, well, they hadn't been seen out in a while, so we will see what's true eventually. And this is a story that has lasted a weekend, and I had to get to it. I had to talk about this one because this is the backlash that people were expecting was going to happen. The headline for the 10th story for this morning. Cheryl Hines brutally trolled after RFK Jr. endorses Trump. On Friday, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. suspended his campaign. Technically, he's not running for president, but he took his name off the ballot in the battleground states, so he couldn't take any votes there. He's polling at 1%, so he wasn't taking many votes there. But as many people have said, and now people are basically understanding and just admitting to, the RFK Jr. run, while he was running as a Democrat, was good for Trump because he was basically going to put Joe Biden out of business back at the time. When he was running independent, was bad for Trump because he was taking more votes from the Republican side than the Democrat side, essentially taking votes out of Trump's pocket. Now they've joined forces to do some things. Kennedy says they're going to have a joint government, basically, we will, and that Kennedy may have a position in the cabinet for Donald Trump, saying that Donald Trump is welcoming many new and semi-old Democrats to join in the party. Right now, the only Democrats who really are professing their love for Donald Trump are Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, who, of course, has her issues as well. However, the big deal, and why I'm rambling so much about RFK Jr. is his campaign is essentially officially finished. With that, now Cheryl Hines has to deal with the brunt of the actual acrimony, where many people in Hollywood weren't big fans of Donald Trump. Some of them weren't big fans of Kennedy either, but they loved Cheryl Hines as an actress and a big activist in that end. And Cheryl Hines was supporting her man as being president and maybe being first lady. That won't happen. And with that, much backlash, much gnashing of teeth and being trolled brutally by people because now her man is backing that guy. And that's an issue. We should not be trolling and we should not be beating up and getting after Cheryl Hines for what's going on because it's ultimately the whim of the political man in charge, being the Trumps and the RFK Juniors, and now the case, not so much the Bidens, but the Harris, who is not a man, but the person in charge. This is an interesting turn of events, turn of play on this one, and how this one will play out going forward, I guess we'll have to kind of watch out. Let's move to our teaser section. The teaser section is where we talk about how we get the stories in that are conversational for you to present to you in this day. We had 10 stories for today's broadcast for Monday. For Tuesday through Friday, we'll give you 8 stories in a day. Why? For Monday, we looked over the whole weekend's worth of stories. That was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We get about 30 stories in a day. So for the weekend, we look at about 30 stories of the top tier to look for and give you 10 to present to you here. The rest of the week, it's 30 stories a day. So we take the top 15, half of those stories, and pull 8 stories for you to get to for a day. So 8 stories for the rest of the week, 10 for Monday for a bit of a longer, bit of a slog. Although today we're kind of rushing through it because we're behind, because it's like the third time we tried to do this recording. So we're really trying to make it happen before, school bus comes, things like that. The teaser part is where we explain how you can actually enjoy the joy of knowing you put these stories into my mouth. Go to our feeds on Facebook and X. X.com/this is a conversation project. That's not right. X.com/TS_conversation and Facebook.com/this is a conversation project. Those are the right links. When you go to those links, go to those sites, you will see news articles we post every 50 minutes from various sources. Some of them, most of them mainstream. Some of them get kind of weird. We do some blogs and do some interesting things out there. And most of them are reputable. Some of them we question ourselves, but most of them are reputable. And they may have a different sort of bent on it from a Republican or a Democratic side, but they are real news places, we're pretty sure of. You like, you love, you hate, you share, you engage in the story that you see on the platform of your choice. And the higher engagement we get in the score, the higher chance we have of talking about it. That's how the 10 stories we had here. We had about 30 stories, a little over 30 stories. We had a lot of engagement this weekend with some things that happened. So we had a little over 30 stories that were tight enough and large enough to get into talk about, but we gave you 10 of them in the actual headlines. Here's one that may not make the cut, but I wanted to talk about this one because it was such an interesting story. Australia's new right to disconnect law allows workers to ignore calls and emails after hours. Because this one may not make the cut, we're going to tell you a bit more on this one. Australia just passed a law that makes it not so much illegal, but will do fines and bans for companies that overtly abuse calling and emailing folks after hours to get work done. Now, the actual person being assaulted, that being the worker, has to actually, claim that they're being assaulted, and that could mean, not working at the job. But it is a move in the right direction, maybe, that basically is making it illegal for people to basically overmanage people at times. However, if you need the job, or if you're someone who's in a job that needs to be paged all the time, or as the news people talking about this morning, they kind of need the phone to ring whenever it rings. They kind of need to be bothered when things are bothering. It does become a bit of a conundrum. Do you want to talk this one up? Do you want to bring this one to the United States, or you want this one to say, hey, this one's not working, it's probably going to be off the books fairly soon? You engage in the story when you see it in your feed. You may have to look for it based on when you're watching this video, but it's an early morning posting, so somewhere early in the morning for this Monday it's being posted. Check it out, read the story, get more details, share it with folks, engage in it on the social media thing, and the higher engagement story we get, better chance we'll have to talk about it. We are not talking about the Friday story we posted to Tease, which was the Ohio woman who was hit by a Hulk Hogan beer can, although I wanted so much to. There's so many actual other important things out there. And there, maybe with the glitch, if I saw that in the third look, we would have put it in there, because it did get some responses and some comments, and plenty of comments. But no, didn't make the cut for the 10 stories in the feed, or in the show, I should say. You know what always makes a cut? Hostage tape. Hostage tape is the coolest thing around to keep you breathing. It's interesting because you think hostage tape, I'm covering my mouth so I can't talk, can't breathe. It's something to keep me held back. Hostage tape has a funny name, so it gets people's attention, but it is the most comfortable mouth tape in the world. It's tape you put over your mouth. And it's also tape strips you put over your nose. What they do, they close your mouth so you're forced to breathe through your nose. Or they open your nostrils so you breathe better through your nose. This is something to help you with all aspects of your life, whether you just have issues breathing at the gym because you're exercising, issues just in general respiratory as well, or you need something to keep your marriage alive, or keep you alive in your marriage because you snore terribly. Mouth tape could be the thing that will save your life because it helps you breathe better, and save your life because your spouse won't try to choke you in your sleep with a pillow because you're snoring so much. Check it out. It sounds funny, but every time they have a big sale, which they had one 2 weeks ago, they sell out and they're in back order. They're back out of back order, if that makes any grammatical sense. But they're back in stock. Plenty of things going to go. And so you should check out Hostage Tape today. Check them out by going to our link for our affiliates so we get a small commission. This is theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. This is theconversationproject.com/hostage tape. Check it out and you can get into the revolution that is good breathing today. Quick check-in with you about us. This is our part where we promote the Conversation Project and our website. This is theconversationproject.com. Go to our website home for more details about what we do daily, how we do it, how it gets done, and where we're doing it in literally the various places. Today, we try to go back to our old streaming software. We need a new computer, so it's having issues with thinking sometimes. And everything looked good until I hit the start button. And it hung up in the software, and then I watched my replay, and I saw myself blinking and making eye contact, which showed me while I could not control my recording, it was going out there. We had to crash it. We're trying to pull it down from places. It's a mess. It's a whole bunch of mess. But in the meantime, you can join us for this replay live thing. Hopefully it's going to work as well. Plus other great things going forward at the Conversation Project. You can see us in various forms, see in some replay forms, see just the straight dope that is just links. So you have to worry about watching my face and smiling thing back and forth, and learn more about what we have going on. You can visit more of our sponsors, which we would appreciate. You can also help directly contribute to maybe me getting a new box pretty soon by being a partner and directly funding the efforts at Art of Conversation Project. We appreciate all that you do for us, and we definitely appreciate all you do for us, and we definitely do our best to try to reciprocate our best as well. That is all we got. That is all we got. That was all we got. I'm sorry, distracting. I'm trying to actually delete those other broadcasts so they don't distract people. That is all we got. Go to our website, click on the sponsors page, click on the partners page, click on the links for where you want to join to us. Not the best read for the promo for the day, But we have a long week. It was a long weekend, a lot of things going on, and some happy things to talk about when we wrap things up. So we'll go to that end. But first, the fun stuff, because we want to do the fun stuff unmolested. Make sure it's done to the best capacity. We did the business poorly. We gave you news, which was, C minus C realm today. Let's get to the fun stuff. Get to our new little Chiron there with things you might ought to know for Monday, August 26, 2024. That guy, Kevin, that guy whose actual name is Macaulay Culkin has a birthday today. Believe it or not, Macaulay Culkin, this is going to make you feel really, really old, is 44 years old today. And his birthday twin, Chris Pine, who you believe is 44 years old. You believe that Chris Pine is 44. Macaulay Culkin just doesn't quite seem it. And this is a fairly recent picture of him from an award show within the last couple of years. Doesn't really look it. You know what I mean? I guess 40 is the new 30s if you look on that end. But you can believe a guy like Chris Pine, who is, shockingly handsome, is 44. Macaulay Culkin, his own sort of handsome, is also that same age. A lot like the John Cena and the John Oliver, they're the same age. And you look at the two and it's like, there's no freaking way. Yeah, this is that as well. Much love also to Keke Palmer, turning 31 years old on the day as well. Happy August 26th birthday to this trio. Let's move on to some history today. Our history lessons today include going back to 1961, where the International Hockey Hall of Fame opened in Toronto. Hockey is considered Canada's game, and it's where all the actual good hockey players come from. Canada has a history, just like Little League Baseball and now essentially Little League Baseball in the past, and now essentially Pop Warner or Pee Wee League football and AAU basketball. Those things are kind of floods of ways for athletes to get into the system here in the States. Hockey is different. Hockey has a system, a junior system that's pretty much the same thing, but it's really popular up in Canada, especially where, it's actually cold enough to skate on ice and skate on lakes, where the original love for the game came from. But the International Hockey Hall of Fame opened up in Toronto in 1961 on this day. Back in 74, aviation pilot Charles Lindbergh died at the age of 72. Of course, the hero for being a aviation legend, and then sort of the weirdness that happened with his family and his son being kidnapped and just scandal on that end, turning a heroic story to a tragic story. Charles Lindbergh passing on this day at 72 in 74. And also on this day, investigators concluded that NASA overconfidence and mismanagement and inattention to safety doomed the Space Shuttle Columbia as much as damage to the craft did. Another sad loss, another shuttle mission down that, of course, we just mourn the loss on this day. Now let's go to the word of the day. Word of the day for today is dwell. Dwell means to think moodily or anxiously about something, and use the word in a sentence after the argument. She couldn't help but dwell on the harsh words that were exchanged. Dwell. Use this one today. Use this one proudly and strongly. More words like this and more about big words at the Big Words Project, thebigwordsproject.com. You can also buy a book. Support the Big Words Project, support More Better Media, and support book lovers across the world, specifically in Arkansas, because book sales, $1 from each book sale of the Big Words You Ought to Know, goes to a local book project here in Arkansas. We'll make it global if I can start selling lots and lots of books. But right now we're supporting the homegrown folks, and that is Arkansas. Buy a copy of Big Words You Ought to Know, Volume 1 or Volume 2. We're going to do 12 of these things. I'm not sure how, but we're going to get there. And money goes to these causes. For today's affirmation, this is a long one. This one's a bit on the woo-woo side. But hey, sometimes they get like that. Here we go. My efforts are being supported by the universe. My dreams manifest into reality before my eyes. Now, you may have issues with the universe and manifest, but just go with me here. This affirmation attracts success. The affirmation aligns your energy with that of the universe, potentially attracting the resources, people, and opportunities needed to turn your dreams into reality. go with me for a moment here, because, people get really woo-woo on, living in the universe and not calling out a higher power by our name and saying that manifestation, if you think it up, it comes to you. You think $1 million and $1 million comes to your door. It doesn't work that way. When you focus and align yourself on positive thoughts, on different things happening, you can not so much manifest good things. What you do is you actually open up your mind to see things going on. You don't manifest a new car by seeing a new car, but when you have a car in mind, if you have a Volkswagen Beetle in mind, you start seeing more Volkswagen Beetles because they stand out because they're on top of mind. If top of mind means things that will help you towards success, things that will help you get towards a goal, people and places and objects that you need to occur things, you'll start seeing more of them and they become better attuned to you figuring out how to get them in your actual hands. The universe, higher power, God, whatever you call it, is supporting you. God doesn't hate you. In fact, I'm actually working on reviving a book I worked as The Universe is Not Out to Get You, which is essentially saying that, things may not look so great, but God doesn't hate you. The universe, when you align yourself with it, when you focus on your higher power, you talk to God and work towards that way, things happen. Maybe not exactly in the way you think or the timeline you wanted to, but things do happen. Let's go to our celebration today. Today's celebration is Dog Day. And it's always a great day to celebrate your dogs, but today's a great time to take appreciation and love for the value that your dog brings to your daily lives, your family, and just the joy of the world itself. And do your bit to do what you can for dogs that are abused and homeless around the world. Make sure you adopt a dog if you have the means, donate to a shelter, just go volunteer someplace. It's something really simple to celebrate dogs, because dogs should be celebrated. They keep us safe as working dogs for emergency services. They work for police officers, they work for various agencies, and they also as support dogs for blind, deaf, and disabled. And of course, comfort dogs, because they make people feel better. Today's a great day to give back to dog culture by giving what you can for dogs. Donate to a dog culture sort of group, maybe ACASP, or you can just donate to your local shelter, or go donate some time at that local shelter as well. You want something tasty to go with your day today? Cherry Popsicle Day. We're running out of summer, although it's still pretty hot, so cherry popsicles may hit the spot for this day. All sort of spots hit on this day as we try to go back to the future. It did not work so well, then back to this thing, and the working didn't so well with my words, but we're all here. You survived. I'm thanking you for this. This is words. These are words that are poorly said. This has been Things You Might Not Have Heard and Things You Might Not to Know for today, for this Monday, August 26, 2024. If you still believe in us, consider becoming a partner, because we can do better, and we probably need your help. This is why we probably need your help being a partner. Go to our website, check out things for that one. Consider checking out our sponsors, and make sure you're following us on our feeds on Facebook and X so we know what stories to talk about come tomorrow. I will do my best to get rested up and figure out what the big deal was today. Running a little behind and trying to do so many extra things today has been sort of a struggle, but you struggle with this. Hopefully the 10 stories I gave you are a great start to your day, or middle to your day if you're watching this in the midday. We appreciate you stopping by and engaging in the stories and giving us stuff to talk about. The good news, we clicked a button for monetization on YouTube. We hit that magical number, and we're going to see what happens. Well, now, like I said, I had some issues in the past with accounts that had some AdSense issues. They thought I was clicking links too many times and never got a payment. That was a decade ago. We're going to see how things go right now, whether they have, mea culpa. I have mea culpa enough. They feel a bit bad about me, and we can see about that one. That's a milestone, being able to say we're in that AdSense program, making some money off the videos that are running there, and getting closer and closer to maybe getting a play button. That could help. AdSense is one step toward that direction. In the meantime, love you so much, and want to remind you that life is good, life is great, even when your life doesn't feel so great. The universe is not out to get you, even though apparently it's out to ruin my speaking today. There are great things coming, and if you need someone to talk to, reach out to us via email or inside the comments. We'll chat up if we can. Talk to you later. Do this later, literally like tomorrow, and you'll see some clips, some news clips, assuming that program works today. We had issues with that on Friday as well. We need some help, folks. We need some help. Consider being a partner. Email me if you want to help out with some stuff. If you want to, apply for a position helping editing and helping writing, once we figure out how to get some more compensation, I can use it to help as well. So if you want to do all that stuff, just reach out. The conversation inbox at gmail.com. In the meantime, let's prepare for a good Monday, because we're going to have it. It's going to happen. Good Monday.